Remember, this is a lot more challenging than you think, and a few things are probably going to happen. This is a follow-up video to our wildly successful and kind of viral original tongue circle video. So make sure you go back and you watch that original video to explain how it works, why it works. I want you to look at all the comments to see from, there's probably thousands of people at this standpoint who had such crazy changes in results just from simply moving the tongue. And people said, "Hey, doc, do you have anything else that you can do?" Well, this is a step up from that, where we're going to now start to involve eye motions as you move your tongue. This is a lot more challenging to do, so practice the original tongue circle video first. I don't want to prepare you that you can get quite emotional when you do the eye circles mixed with the tongue circles, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, but let's get into why this stuff can be so helpful for you. Okay, so let's first go over talking about why this can be so helpful for you. We're going to talk about cranial nerves, and there's nerves that come off the brain stem in particular. And I want you to look here, brain stem. So it sits down at the bottom here and it goes into your spinal cord, becomes your spinal cord. It's like the root of a tree. Why is that so powerful? Because this is where your survival mechanisms live, like your breathing, heart, digestion, swallowing, blood pressure, alertness, sweating. I mean, huge part of your ability to actually function in this world. And big, big drivers of the stress response. And you'll find that this move can do a lot to relaxing tension at the back of the head underneath what's called your occiput to relieve tension in the head, neck, and face. But the primary reason this is going to work is you're going to stimulate like crazy some cranial nerves. Now, which ones? Well, let's go over it. All right. This is a side view called a lateral view of your brain stem. At the top here, you've got your midbrain, and here you can see it's called your pons, and down below on the last part, that's called your medulla. So midbrain, pons, medulla. You've got 12 cranial nerves. You actually have 24. You have 12 on the left, 12 on the right, and they're in pairs. And you can see they're grouped in different sections of the brainstem. Now, when you move your tongue, you're going to really stimulate cranial nerve number 12. This cranial nerve number 12 is the motor nerve, which means it's going to move the muscles of the tongue. The intrinsic ones inside the tongue, you'll see in a minute, and the extrinsic ones that can move your tongue like side to side and all over the place. But I want you to notice here how cranial nerve number 12 sits very close to what's called your vagus nerve at 10, your accessory nerve at number 11, and then also your glossopharyngeal nerve at number 9. Okay, and then they're going to do many things to help relax your autonomic nervous system as well. The takeaway here is that whenever you move your tongue, you're going to stimulate these as well. And that's one reason why people notice some crazy improvements when they do it. Now, when you throw the eyes into the mix, you need to know that the eyes actually have muscles that move it. I'm gonna move ahead here. And there's muscles of the eye. Otherwise, it would just sit in your eye socket. You got 6 muscles that move each eye, 6 on the left, 6 on the right, and they have cranial nerves that go to it as well. So whenever you move your eyes, you're going to fire signals into your brain stem when you do it. Now, the nerves that move your eye are a couple of them. The oculomotor nerve, which is number 3, then your trochlear nerve, which is number 4, and the abducens nerve, which is number 6. We'll go over those motions in a moment, but they're more located in the eye video that we have as well. So just key search eye under my channel and you'll find it. And just here's another front view. The first one you saw was a side view. This is a front view. And it's the same structures. You've got your midbrain here. See midbrain, pons and medulla. And then the first two, the smell and vision, that's in the forebrain. So that's not the midbrain, that's the forebrain. So these nerves come off here. And I just want you to notice the ones that we circled again: the oculomotor, trochlear, abducens, and hypoglossal. Now, you're going to see in a moment that when you move your eye, there's so many crazy things happening all over your body. It's not even funny, because when you move your eyes, your brain thinks that you're going to turn your head and move your body either towards what you're looking at or away from it. So it's actually priming up all the muscles in the back of your head that support the bones in your spine, particularly cervical 1, cervical 2, called atlas and axis. But they'll also prime up these big muscles called your traps and your sternocleidomastoid muscle on the side of your neck, because they turn your head. Okay. So the way I tell people is eyes go, head goes, body goes. So once you turn your eyes, all these nerves start falling like a domino, anticipating what's coming up next. Okay. So now let's talk about the tongue. This is kind of a review of the first tongue video. You have intrinsic muscles that give you the ability to move your tongue and all these little funky shapes, like curl it back on itself and stuff like that. Then the extrinsic ones move it big, like they're the ones that are going to stick it to the roof of your mouth, stick it out of your mouth, move it to the left, move it to the right. And the intrinsic and extrinsic ones, you're firing like crazy when you do tongue circles. Right? And then these are the muscles that are innervated here, the extrinsic muscles. They're going to be innervated by two nerves, the hypoglossal nerve and the vagus nerve. Okay. And remember when we talked about those, the hypoglossal nerve and the vagus nerve. So they're going to fire up whenever you move your tongue. Okay. But what you're going to do now is you're going to do the tongue circles, which I'm going to demonstrate again. And then you're going to move your eyes in the circular pattern at the same pace. It's not easy. Okay. Now, what's really awesome is, I touched on it a little bit before, is that you have muscles that sit on the back of your head underneath your skull and attached to your vertebra. They're called suboccipital muscles. Sub means below, occipit's back of the skull, and they've got all these different fancy Latin gobbledygook medical names, but I just want you to see how they attach underneath. And what happens is whenever you move your eyes and you look in particular directions, these muscles actually fire. You can put your thumbs up underneath the back of your head. Okay. You can put your thumbs up underneath the back of your head, and I'll show you here. And when I do it, you put your thumbs up underneath the back of your skull like this and just rest your fingers on your head. And I want you to just move your eyes kind of left and right and up and down, or move them in circles a little bit. And you should feel these muscles firing up underneath your thumb. And you'd be like, holy cow, Doc, I really feel those. So that's why eye motion can relate to head and neck pain or headaches. But when you do this, and when you do the tongue circles, you'll also feel all these muscles engage underneath your jawline here, because those are going to be where some of the muscles are going to sit. Okay. And when we go back to now to look at that, when you move your eyes, these are going to wire and fire. And when you get here, these are actually going to attach to the first two bones that are up in your neck. So it actually can shift them a little bit. And then that's why you can feel different in your head and neck, but you're also going to change blood flow to the brain stem itself. This is the coolest part, everybody, is that arteries bring power to everything. That's oxygen, right? That's nutrients. But there's only several ways that blood can get into your brain. The primary ways are, it's going to be from what's called your internal carotid artery, because it goes in. And the other one is here that you see called your vertebral artery, your vertebral artery. And that's going to travel along the side of the neck. But that's going to go into the brain through the back, underneath here, all right, where the spine comes out of a big hole in your head called the foramen magnum. And when these muscles get really, really tight, they can clamp down on that vertebral artery. Now, they're not going to clamp down enough to shut it off because you'd be dead lights out, but it's that tension week after week, month after month, year after year that develops. And then you wonder why, man, I always feel crappy up here. Okay. So the takeaway is this: when you do the tongue circles, when you move your eyes at the same time, you're going to decrease tension in the back of the head muscles. You're going to change blood flow to the brain and also from the brain, because veins also remove blood from the brain. It's a two-way street, and you can see it down in here. You've got your veins. And you know I'm really into lymphatics, and guess what? The lymphatics are all around this area as well. And now let's get into a couple of cues here. There's some things I want you to pay attention to, things that you notice when you do this movement. First of all, you don't have to go fast. More isn't better, better is better. First thing I want you to take note of is nothing should hurt when you do this. If something hurts when you do it, I want you to change what you're doing. Maybe you're going too fast. Maybe you're putting too much pressure, okay? If it initially hurts, but you start to do the movements and the pain begins to feel a little bit better, you're okay. But if you have pain anywhere and when you continue to do it, the pain keeps staying or getting worse, that means stop. All right? Just stop. You might not be ready for it, or you can try it again later. Big one here. Don't stop breathing. Everybody always wants to stop breathing. If you've done the tongue circles, you probably stop breathing when you do it. One of the reasons that you stop breathing when you do something is because it's a lot of energy and focus that your brain is doing to try to accomplish a task, and it just forgets to breathe. And when the body is always under stress, it typically has a tendency to hold their breath. People don't breathe when they're under stress. So notice if you hold your breath, because you're going to have to be breathing in and out through your nose on this one. It's not about speed. I want you to go slow at first, then you can make your way faster, because you're going to have to pace your eye movement with your tongue movement. They need to go together. You may feel anxious and emotional when you do this. You might only be able to do 3 movements, and that's enough. Okay. I'll get to how many you should do in a moment. All right. But take notice too. Was it easier to go one way than the other way? Could you do more circles one way than the other way with the eyes or with the tongue? We don't want to move the head. We want to move the eyes, and we want to move the tongue. So I'm going to show you the little finger placement on the chin to prevent that from happening. As I said before, maintain the matching paces of the eyes and the tongue. And people say, how many circles should I do? And my answer is always enough. Now, I'm not being flippant here. It's the truth, because I can't tell you. Because some people can do 5 and they're shot. Some people can do 10 and they're shot. What you need to pay attention to is, do you feel good when you do it, or do you all of a sudden not feel good? Then that means that you did too much, right? But I will tell you that when you start these, they're highly powerful neurological exercises, and they don't take a lot to do it. But try to aim for 5 to 10 circles each way. Right? How often? Same thing. Enough. Some people like to do a few circles every single day. Some people like to check it every other day. I would definitely do a couple of tongue circles and eye circles at least once a week, but you go by how you feel. Now it's time to do a quick review of the tongue circles. I highly encourage you to go back and watch the first tongue circle video for an in-depth tutorial and explanation of the neurology behind why it works. Okay. So follow along with me, and then after this, we'll do the eye clock, eye circles by themselves, and then we'll mix those two together. It's much easier for the brain to learn 2 separate tasks and then combine them together in one. Okay. Now, when we move the tongue, we don't want to move the head, and we don't want to get a lot of movement out of the jaw. We want to isolate the tongue. To do that, we place a finger here on the chin, which will help you feel if you're moving around too much. And you can also use a mirror or a camera. Now, when you do the tongue circles, you're going to have to separate your teeth just a little bit so the tongue can go through. And I want you to constantly be pushing your tongue forward like a snake and think about the end of your tongue as a pencil where you're going to trace along the inside margins of your mouth clockwise and counterclockwise without doing a lot of this kind of stuff. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple of circles going each way. Don't forget to breathe. Eyes can do whatever you want right now. Right? Here, look straight, tongue, trace. And then I'm going to do the other way. And then relax. Okay. Now we're going to do the eye clock eye circles. You can do it with glasses. You can do it without. Don't wear contacts when you do these because you're going to be moving your eye to the periphery like this, and you'll probably lose your contacts when you try to do this. Okay. Remember, don't stop breathing. No pain when you do it. I still want you to use your finger here to help you keep in check the head. Because remember what we said. When you move your eyes, your nervous system thinks that you're going to turn your head to something, to that direction, or it could be actually turning away from that. So here's a pretty good review of the eyes. When you actually look up, you feed what they call extension. So looking up, your brain thinks you're going to look up and lean backwards. So your extensors on the back of the body fire. When you look down with your eyes, that's going to feed what they call flexion. So the muscles in the front of your neck and your whole front chain will go just like this because it thinks, hey, Perry's going to look straight down. When you look to the left, it anticipates that you're going to turn your head to your left to go that way. And remember what we said before, that's going to engage your sternocleidomastoid muscle here and your trapezius because they're going to be twisters of the head. And when you look to your right, it thinks that you're going to look to your right that way. So it primes bigger muscles and the whole body, honestly, but definitely the ones up underneath the back of the head. So try to pay attention to those. When you do circles, you're going to be going all the way around the clock like this. Now, it doesn't matter where you start. You can start by looking up. You can start by looking down. You can start by looking left, as long as you complete a full cycle around the clock. So just imagine a clock face going there. Okay. Don't forget to breathe. This one, just doing the eyes, it's a practice. Relax the tongue, but keep your mouth closed. Try to breathe in and out through your nose. All right. I'm going to put the finger here. I'm going to start by looking up, and then I'm going to go around the clock. And then relax. Don't forget to breathe. Okay. You might feel a little bit dizzy when you first do that. That's normal. That'll get better the more you practice it. So make sure you're either sitting down when you do that, or if you're standing, you're somewhere where you can grab onto something, but I'd prefer you to sit. You can also do it lying down. That's up to you. Now we're going to go the other way. I'm moving a little bit closer. So I'm going to go to my right and then relax. Okay. Then just blink and then just kind of shake your head, move it in different directions. Now we're going to mix all of those together. Remember, this is a lot more challenging than you think, and a few things are probably going to happen. One, you're going to stop breathing. Two, you're probably going to have too much tension in the body because you're thinking too much, right? Three, you're likely going to be off on your pace, which means that you'll move your tongue and your eyes will naturally track a little bit faster. And that's okay. Okay. That's fine. I just want you to try to keep as close as you can with the same pace when you're moving it. In the beginning, you'll go a little bit slower because it's easier for your nervous system to do something new when you do it slower. And then you'll go a little bit faster and work your way up to a comfortable speed. Then we'll reverse it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do probably one or two slower ones in a direction. Then I'm going to start to speed it up, right? And you're going to see me probably struggle a little bit with these two because I also need to practice. All right, here we go. Here, mouth slightly open, tongue. I'm going to start at the top and then I'm going to look up. And now I'm going to do both together. Here we go. Don't forget to breathe. And then relax. Now I'm going to do two a little bit faster. Here we go. Then relax. Okay. Now I'm going to go the other way. Two a little bit slower, two a little bit faster. Here we go. Well, you can see I was way faster with my eyes on that one. Okay. So I gotta focus, kind of pun intended here. All right. That was a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to do two faster. Here we go. And relax. Okay. Ooh, that's like rocket fuel for me. And that second direction was a little bit more challenging for me in a couple of different ways. But I really want you to attempt these, find a quiet place, and go slow, go easy. Begin to notice what you really feel in relationship to tightness or tension or discomfort anywhere in the head, neck, face, torso, body. But then pay attention to what changed afterwards. When you get up to move, do you feel like you have a little bit what they call more mobility, the ability to move your body? In time, do you feel less tired, fatigued, lethargic? Do you notice a difference, especially in the back of the skull here in those suboccipital muscles? Because remember, you're changing blood flow up into the brainstem. The brainstem sits here in the back, and it's supplied by the vertebral artery, a vertebral artery that runs along the side of the bones in the neck, and then it comes up and goes into the back of the head. And where it goes, if you look at this skull, is in this hole here called your foramen magnum. Foramen just means hole, magnum is big, and those muscles sit right back here. And then, of course, you have these suboccipital nerves that get really tight and tender, and then you get tension headaches and all sorts of nasty stuff back in here. And you may notice a change with those. So maybe you're less tired, less fatigued, maybe even have a change in your brain fog if you've got that going on. Try to practice this for 30 days, see what kind of changes that you have. Leave some comments below on what you felt, any kind of change that you have, or if you have any questions. And please feel free to share this video with others and hit the subscribe button so you never miss one of our future episodes. And I thank you so very much for tuning into my channel. I hope you learn a lot, see things in new and different ways, and that these may add some value to your life so you feel a little bit better or to the life of someone that you care about. Thank you so much for Stop Chasing Pain. This is Dr. Perry. We'll see you soon on the next video.